Competitive gaming has always been something in my world for really over a decade, but I really want something else that's a new hobby that's slower. It has more meaning, there's more progress at the end of the day, and coding has always been something that I've gravitated towards, and I've had little games along the way, but I want to make something a bit more real here. So I'm going to be making this video to help me stay accountable, and this is going to be sort of some devlogs that are made with little editing. It's relaxing, it's slow. I want something that's not going to be the very TikTok cuts and very intense all the time. So let me break down some of my goals here as we're getting into this. Firstly, you got to get cozy. I've got my big cloak on. I'm standing at my desk right now. The first one is I'm going to work on this game for 1 hour every day. I don't really want to go too much more than that and start to burn myself out. So just going to be working for 1 hour and showing my progress with some of that here in the video. I also don't want to have real use of AI. So some games that I have coded in the past were mostly AI. And while I know how to code, I think that I just don't want it to do all of the stuff for me. So I think if I ask AI anything, I'll show that, but I want it to be something specific, like how to do this, not just like create this example or create this feature for me. So I might also ask some AI questions if it doesn't relate to the codes, say it has something to do with something else that I literally have no idea what to do. So I think I'm really going to be limiting how much AI I actually use with the system. Of course, I don't like using a game engine, so I'm going to be using a library called Raylib and C++. It's very fun. I love to actually get hands down into the coding, and that's what I have most experience with now, so I'm going to keep going with that. And again, I'm going to keep these videos on the lighter side, on the lighter editing side, so that there's just not a lot of jump cuts. It's nice and relaxing, so you can get cozy just like me. So I've mostly made 3D games in the past, but I think I want this to be more of like a 2D top-down game that I'll make in Raylib here. So kind of a slower, more single-player cozy game. I almost kind of want something like Stardew Valley, but on the moon. And maybe you've crash landed on the moon and you have to make a base, you have to find resources in the land, maybe even meet some aliens, and eventually, I guess there could be a main storyline of getting back to Earth, but could remain on the moon and just keep making things nice and pretty over there. So I'm going to be using Trello. If you're someone who wants to get into game dev, having a way to be able to track and check things off is astounding for progress and keeping yourself kind of motivated to keep going. Because if you just kind of sit down and into a brand new day and you go, okay, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, it becomes very overwhelming. Where if you can sit down for even 5 minutes before you actually go to code, you give yourself a list of things to do, and then it's easier to do that one thing and then check it off and then go to the next. It becomes less overwhelming. So I'm just going to make some things here just for the first day about exactly what I want to get working and hopefully be able to do that. Sometimes I'll even put it out into different versions, but this is kind of a really nice way to keep myself a little bit more motivated and on track, seeing all these check marks by the end. For now, I guess I'll just start with these three. They're just the ones that came to the top of my head. I just want to open up a window. I want to create that 2D camera and then create a player and their movement. Now I don't even have a name for this, so I'm just going to call it my MoonGame. I don't have a name, so that'll have to come more as I get a little bit more into it. So I want to show you Raylib because it's an awesome library. So this isn't actually a real game engine, but it gives me things that I can draw on the screen and different math that's super helpful. And they even have examples to help you get started with like different things. It's just a great, I really recommend if you're more into coding stuff than actually wanting to use a game engine. I love this stuff, and have a cheat sheet that tells you everything that you need to know, so you don't even really need to use AI. They've got everything in here. It's really, really awesome and fun. Yay! So see, now we've got some text on the screen. Okay, now I can actually move it. It's not quite in the middle, but that's fine. It doesn't really need to be anywhere specific, but welcome to the MoonGame. So now that we did that, go here and go check mark, and we'll go back. So I've gotten really complacent and I want to do something that's scary and challenging. And this YouTube video is taking a little bit of courage. I am a little bit scared to be posting this, but I think that uncomfortability is more of a reason to do it. Format, player position, it knew player position, 0.2F. Yes, yes, yes. So now we should be able to move. It's not going to be perfect, but I do not see myself moving. Okay, we're at 100. So that was my fault. Yay, there we go. Now we need to normalize this. So, you know, instead of it being plus or minus, yeah, I can't move right or up, but I can move left or down, which is interesting. Oh, okay. So you zero it out on every frame, and that means, you know, the speed is still incredibly slow. I guess the velocity is a thing, but 500? 500 speed? I mean, that's faster, but I'm gonna make the size a bit bigger of the screen as well. Make it 1000 by, that's 100. 1000 by 700. Like a 1080 by 720 kind of thing. Cute, so now we can move. Obviously we can move off the screen. And we can do all that, and the movement actually kind of works. And I don't think that we're going faster in a specific direction. So there we go. So it's actually now day 3. I didn't do a lot in day 2, but I've been kind of thinking about more things and kind of trying to trend in a certain direction. So I added some health to the player. We've got some oxygen because we're going to be on the moon, and it's probably going to deplete if you're not in your home base. I was also thinking about maybe a way to add in some aliens, and I don't know if I specifically always want this to be sort of mining and things. I think I have a cool idea of a kind of how like a Club Penguin almost thing where you could have mini games with the aliens and they would give you resources or something like that. So figuring out that. Now I want to get some sort of like current room system so the map and the game knows where you are, whether or not to deplete oxygen, and then probably get some sort of grid on the map so that you can know where the walls are. I just made a game manager now where basically I'm just going to hard code what certain room that you're in, and if you press a button you're in kind of a different room. I kind of want, I'm calling it different room even though these aren't rooms. I don't know, that was kind of the best word that came right to my brain. Of course we can change it later, but then I have the oxygen going down. I think it takes, I did it in a spreadsheet about how long it's going to take. I think it takes 10 minutes at the base level to actually deplete the full oxygen. I think I'm also going to add in different things where there are different levels of oxygen tanks that you'll be able to not make it go down as fast. So if you're in the base, then don't actually like put your oxygen down. In fact, you probably want to make it back to being 100. So if you go 1, yay, 2, then the oxygen goes through. Hello, happy day 4. I worked quite a bit this morning since I have the day off. I've been working a lot with getting the grid system to work with the map and kind of getting the collisions to work. Oh my god. Getting the wall collisions to work, I did have to ask for a little bit of help, not to help me code, but specifically how to actually make it so that you don't go in the wall, and you know, you check if there's a collision with the wall, and then instead of like making your movement just stop, you have to like push it away or make the velocity 0. So I did ask for a little bit of help with that. And we got it to work. And now I'm working with the doors, kind of getting between different rooms. So I've got it going into a base. Basically right here, instead of now just hard coding like 1 and 2 to switch between different doors, we now actually have a way to like, we have a yellow door. So you can see in the top left, I'm outside and my oxygen's going down. And then you press E on the door and then we're inside of the base and it's got a different layout here. So, you know, now we're back outside on the moon. And I don't go through walls. Yay! So this is kind of what I'm dealing with right now. I'm just trying to like build the basic infrastructure about like the game working from basics. So after this, I think I'm going to have to just kind of expand to different rooms and kind of keep going. But I'm kind of proud of myself. I've kind of been coding for maybe like 3 hours this morning just because I've had nothing else to do. So I think it's time to have a little bit of a break, and then we'll continue back with this tomorrow. I kind of spent my hour today trying to get the Raylib to also work on my laptop so that I could kind of switch back and forth between the two, because sometimes sitting at this desk, I'm like, oh my God, get me up. And maybe I could even take it to some cute places, go to a little coffee shop or something. So I was spending most of the day trying to get my laptop to work with Raylib and to make it all work with Visual Studio. Eventually got it to work, and that was kind of how most of the day was going. I found one little bug though as I was trying to figure out and to make sure that I could link those two correctly. I found this other really weird bug where if I changed the dimensions of the room, it would draw. So weird. And I was like, what is going on? So I thought at first that this may have been because the game wasn't initializing the map in full before actually rendering it, because if I switched to another room, it loaded fine, and then if I switched back, it was fine. So I was like, what? I figured it out because the way that it was the way that the actual player room map width and the drawing, how I actually draw it, so I know which actual dimensions and how far I need to draw it. So I just had it saved to 20, and when I saved it off of 20, it was like, what am I drawing? But so I just had to initialize that with the right map when I init all the maps. Not bad, not bad. And that's where kind of things end after the first week. Got a little bit of progress going, but gonna take some time to plan and stuff. I'm going home for a little short vacation for the 4th of July. So I'll be going thinking about things, and I'm sure coming back with lots of fresh new ideas, excited to get working again.